Hey friends. So we are going to do something a little different from my typical vintage fashion and lifestyle content. But I think it's still relevant because it is about this YouTube channel. And especially if you have just ever been curious about what it's like behind the scenes as a content creator. When I did my recent 25 questions for 25K, a few of you asked some really thoughtful questions about how I film my videos, how YouTube works, and just kind of what it's like doing this kind of work. Some of you mentioned that you or someone you know are interested in starting a YouTube channel, and it just made me realize that, I don't know, maybe it might actually be useful to kind of share a bit about my experience. I believe in transparency, and to be honest, I've wanted to do a video like this for a while now. I just didn't really know how it kind of fit into my niche and if this information was even interesting to you guys, but here we are. I've been creating videos here on YouTube for just over 5 years, and I have been monetized for just over 4. So today I am going to walk you through how the YouTube monetization works, what I've actually earned every year, and how long it took me to get monetized, what I won't do for views, and just kind of what it all looks like day to day. Here is a quick breakdown of how creators earn money on YouTube. To become eligible and join the YouTube Partner Program, aka start earning money through AdSense, you have to meet a few criteria. You have to have at least 1,000 subscribers, and for long form videos, you need to get 4,000 public watch hours in a 12-month period. And for shorts, you have to have 10 million views in a 90-day period. Of course, you have to follow all of the monetization policies, basically play by their rules, and set up an AdSense account and link it to your channel. Once you hit those milestones, you'll get a notification, and then you can apply through your YouTube dashboard. It can take a few days or a few weeks for YouTube to review and approve your channel. You make money by YouTube running ads on your videos. And the way they calculate that is through your RPM, which is your revenue per 1,000 views. Not all views are equal. Your RPM can change drastically depending on your audience location, the video topic, the time of year, and even advertiser demand. Okay, you guys are getting a look behind for my nerdy growth calculator that I created for my YouTube channel. So you can see here with my RPM how it changes month to month. And, you know, like this is in 2022. You can see it started off at $8.81, and I think the lowest it got was $6.33. But in other years, you know, it kind of ranges. This one here, November of 2023, it got up to $9.95. In 2024 was pretty much about the same. So yeah, it really just, it changes kind of, you know, from month to month. You could see here, 2025, it's gone down. It went from $8.84 down to $5. So yeah, it changes. Even though I was getting more views, I have more subscribers at this time. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So it will vary from video to video, from month to month. So just because someone seems to have a lot of views doesn't necessarily mean that they're making a ton of money. Also, creators only earn from monetized views. So if the viewer skips the ad, or for some reason, if YouTube doesn't show it, then you don't earn anything from that view. And of course, the length of video can play a role in this. So if you have a video that is longer than 8 minutes, you can get a mid-roll ad. If it's less than 8 minutes, you typically just have the ad in the front, in the beginning of the video, and then one at the end. So you are kind of encouraged to make a little bit of a longer video so you can get those mid-roll ads. Okay, so now you know a little bit about how the system works. Let's go ahead and show you my stats. So I have had a YouTube channel since 2016, but I really only had a few very poorly done videos, so we are not going to count that. we are going to start from when I really started to post and publish videos, which was starting on March 24th, 2020. So I gained my first 1,000 subscribers on September 30th, 2020. But at that time, I had only had about 1,400 watch time hours. But by February 23rd of 2021, so just under a year from really starting, I had finally met the criteria to be monetized. So at that time, I had over 2,000 subscribers and I had hit the 4,000 watch time hours. And of course, that was within the 12-month period, so then I was eligible. So I applied for the partner program and I got my notification on March 1st, 2021. So March 2021 was the first month of being monetized, and that month I made $50.96. Okay, so here is a quick subscriber breakdown, as much as I can. I'm not always good about marking these milestones. So September 30th, 2020, I was at 1,000 subscribers. February of 2021, I was about 2,000 subscribers. By January of 2022, I had 5,000 subscribers. And March of 2024, I had 10,000 subscribers. And as of right now, June 4th, 2025, I have 27,951 subscribers. I'm not going to bore you and go through my revenue month by month for all 5 years. I think it'll be sufficient if we just do a yearly roundup. But I do want to say that if this content is interesting to you, I would be happy to do more of these, maybe on a quarterly or a yearly basis going forward, just so you can see my progress. So let me know in the comments if this is something that is interesting to you, then maybe we can make this a regular thing. To make this easier, I'm going to show a calendar year. So January 1st to December 31st. Okay, so how much have I made on YouTube in the past 5 years as a vintage content creator? In 2020, I published 26 videos, and of course, I made $0 because I was not monetized yet. And I thought it might be interesting to show you kind of my top 5 videos for each year. So in 2020, it was the life cycle of my wet set and the science behind it, an eShakti haul, my everyday makeup, and the beginning of my brooch collection. In 2021, I published 51 videos and I made $984.38. The top 5 videos of 2021 for me were my vintage turban tutorial, the vintage brooch show, the second part of my brooch collection, how to wear vintage brooches, and the life cycle of my wet set. At this point in this year, I was trying to publish once a week, and I think I did a pretty good job on that, but I will tell you, that is a lot for me. 2022, I published 43 videos, and I made $1,469.97. My top videos for 2022 were, once again, my vintage turban tutorial, the brooch show, how to wear vintage brooches, my 1930s details, a style guide, and how to put on and wear a snood. In 2023, I published 30 videos and I made $1,816.83. My top videos were, you guessed it, my vintage turban tutorial. And how to wear vintage brooches, my 1930s detail style guide, my cozy hobbies video, and vintage styles for naturally curly hair. 2024 was a hard year for me. I only published 5 videos. I moved to Vienna. I was really, really burnt out. It was hard for me. But because I had the prior years of all my videos, I ended up making $2,108.56. I did have a couple of videos do really, really well towards the end of that year, which you'll see is as a reflection in my top 5. But because of that, collective videos from years past, that really helped. So the top 5 videos for 2024 was my YouTube burnout video, my video on survival bias, once again, my turban tutorial, my apartment hunt in Vienna, and my step-by-step guide for a wet set. And so far for 2025, I have published 11 videos, and as of June 3rd, I have made $2,057.69. For the lifetime of my channel, these are my top 5. So my vintage turban tutorial is definitely outranked all of them. That's one of the crazy things about YouTube. That video is, I think, 4 years old, and it just continues to do really well for me. My next one is my latest, or my second episode of my series for vintage homemaking. Then, of course, my YouTube burnout, when function was beautiful, and then how to wear vintage brooches. So it's kind of interesting that, the YouTube burnout video is, it doesn't have anything to do really with my normal content, but it did really, really well. So yeah, I guess it resonated with a lot of people for some reason. But yeah, so those are my top 5 of all time for my channel. So the grand total for all 4 years of being monetized on YouTube is $8,437.43. So not exactly yacht money, right? And it has been a very slow build for me. But year by year, it does get a little bit better. And, but for YouTube, income for small creators can be really unpredictable. You just don't know if your video is going to do well or not. I've had several videos completely flop, even though I've gone through all the keyword research and the A/B testing and the SEO, writing in the description, all of it. There's just so much that is completely out of your hands. So a few people asked about this on my 25K video, but I thought I would answer it here. So to film, I use a Digi Osmo Pocket 3 camera with the wireless mic. I try to do natural light as much as possible, but I do have a small lighting setup if I need it. I edit with Final Cut Pro and pretty much always just film in my apartment with Miss Mildred snoring nearby, which I'm sure you can hear. It's not fancy, but it works for me as long as the construction and street noise isn't too bad going on outside. But I started off filming with just using my iPad and my iPhone. And up until just a couple of months ago, I was editing on iMovie. So you really don't need a lot of fancy equipment. Over the years, making content in all forms has really been a joy for me. I love sharing vintage style and fashion and just thoughtful living with all of you. As most of you know, I started out 12 years ago with writing my blog, Chronically Overdressed. And I guess I'm still technically a blogger, even though I don't post as often. And most people have moved away from reading traditional blogs. But writing is really where I feel my most creative and the most comfortable. I will be totally honest with you. I was terrified to start filming videos. I did not like how I looked. I didn't like how I sounded. I was always very comfortable with photographs. I had been a model when I was younger, and I really love doing photo shoots for my blog, for Instagram, all of that. But film was a totally different beast. And I was very self-conscious. I still am. And I think you can see that in some of my earlier videos. I look and sound very stiff. I was not comfortable in front of the camera. But I knew that content creation was moving more towards videos, so I just evolved with the times. I'm still not 100% comfortable with it. But I want to be honest, it's not easy. The algorithm can feel really random, and it sometimes feels like a personal attack. Videos that you put your heart and just so much time and effort into just flop, and growth is slow, at least for me, especially when you don't chase trends. And other times something random takes off and I'm like, really? That one? And it just kind of messes with your brain a little bit. There have definitely been moments where I feel like I want to just give up, and I have taken several breaks over the years. It is a lot of work to research and write, film, edit, and market these videos. You are a one-stop shop for all of it. Not to mention having to monitor the comments and deal with some real doozies and people who they're just miserable in their own lives, and they just feel the need to take it out on a stranger on the internet. But then someone comments saying that a video of mine has totally made their day or helped them find their confidence or their style. And it just reminds me of why I do this. So I keep going because I love the community that we've built here. And I still have a lot to say and to share and talk about. So my first career was in marketing and public relations. And over the years in my various businesses, I have practiced ethical marketing. And honestly, the influencer and content creator world can be very unethical. I've always been uncomfortable with attaching the term influencer to myself. I would rather be seen to inspire rather than influence. I don't know. The words are very similar. They mean something similar, but I don't know. I think the term influencer has really developed into something completely different. There's so much on social media that promotes overconsumption and really encourages that immediate gratification. And there's also parts of social media that really feed into the nasty, mean side of human nature. So there are certain kinds of content that I just absolutely refuse to make, even though I know that it would get me way more views. And I absolutely refuse to buy my subscribers or views. The day in the life of a 1950s housewife content is very popular in the vintage scene. Or content that just stirs up drama just to ride that controversy train. You know the vibe, and honestly, it works. It's the kind of content that pulls in views, and people will always run towards the drama and salacious content. It gets people talking and it creates engagement. And yes, I could probably grow faster if I kind of leaned into all that stuff. But it just doesn't feel honest to me. I did not start this channel to play a character or sell a fantasy. I started it to celebrate vintage and history in a thoughtful, creative, and authentic way. So even if that means that I grow a little bit slower, I know that my integrity is intact. I guess I really want to say, just be mindful of what you consume. Some content is made with care and context, and some is just made for clicks and to get you riled up. And when it comes to vintage lifestyle, I think it's really important to ask, are we celebrating history or are we selling a fantasy? Are we showing the past as it was, or a stylized escape that erases the hard parts? My hope is that my videos make you feel something, not just click on something. And I hope that makes this space feel more real and trustworthy for you too. YouTube is one small part of how I earn a living. AdSense is also connected to my blog, so I do make a little bit from there as well, from ads on my blog, maybe, I don't know, $100 or so a year, now that readership is down. Used to be more, but now it's not. And until we moved to Vienna, I was working a remote job. So I did have outside income from that. But now I am a full-time content creator, which means it's important to have diversified streams of income. So here are some other ways that I make money as a creator. My Patreon. This is my biggest and best support system that I have. On my Patreon, I share bonus behind the scenes content. I host monthly video chats with my patrons. I share scans of vintage magazines, and I create exclusive downloads like my newsletter, The Vintage Dispatch. It's a great way to be a part of the community while helping to support your favorite creator. Through my website, I offer one-on-one sessions to help people create or refine their vintage styles. I have 4 different options, from vintage hair and makeup tips to custom styling sessions, to kind of help you go through your closet and create the vintage look that you have been dreaming of. I'm not a typical influencer in that sense, but I do have a favorites list on my website from various retailers of products that I use. And when you choose to click on those and buy them yourself, then I do get a small commission from it. In the vein of ethical marketing, I only list items that I use personally and that I like and that are relevant to vintage styling. I find it helps to have a list of my favorite items that people ask about a lot. It's not a huge income. It's maybe, I don't know, $20 to $40 a month, but it helps. I've done a few brand collaborations and some modeling gigs over the years. And though I have moved away from the gifted only collabs, it's just not worth the time and effort that it goes into creating the content. There hasn't really been a lot of work for me lately with the vintage reproduction brands, and I am very particular with who I'm willing to do sponsorships with. So again, like if I was willing to just do anything, I could probably make more money. But I choose to work with brands that care about size inclusivity and are ethical brands themselves. So it all adds up, but no single source is enough on its own. And that's really the reality for a lot of us small creators. I absolutely do not make enough money through my content creation to survive. I am very, very fortunate that my husband's job takes care of the both of us financially, but I am hopeful that sometime soon I will see more of a reward for all of the hard work that I've put in over the years. So if you are watching this and you are thinking about starting a channel, I say do it. But do it for the joy of creating and connecting, not because you think that it's a fast way to earn some money. You will learn along the way about filming and editing and marketing, and you'll find your style and your voice. So don't worry if you don't know how it all works right now. You will figure it out. And there's a ton of really good information out there. I know I have learned a ton over the last 5 years. I did not know how to edit when I started this. So, that's all self-taught completely. And I will continue to learn as I go on. And if you have been watching and supporting my content over the years, thank you so much. It really means so much to me that you're here. If you are interested in learning how your actions help to support your favorite creators, then please watch this video. I break down how you, our followers, make an impact on our content and how important you really are in making sure that our content gets seen. And if you would like to join my community, you can support me on Patreon or book a vintage style and beauty session. Check out the description for all the links. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope this little peek behind the curtain was interesting for you. I'll be back soon with more vintage style, history, and cozy life in Vienna content. See you next time. Bye.